Hello everyone, welcome to our channel Corporate Decoders, where we try to decode different burning issues related to the corporate world. We are proud to introduce our new partners, Socio Story and Human Resource Forum of XISS, who would be helping us for our initiatives. In the series of Decoding Perceptions, we would like to decode a burning issue related to diversity and inclusion, for which the topic of discussion is: does diversity inclusion only substantiate the hiring of female prospects? There has been various prevalent definitions of diversity. However, still a big amount of crowd thinks that it is specified only for hiring female employees. So today, let us decode what actually diversity means to the business. Is it for a development of the society, or a marketing gimmick, or a third gender struggle to find its space in the society? To help us decode today's hot topic, we have with us Ma'am Nida Khanum, a successful HR leader, entrepreneur, mentor, and a professional coach. She has over 18 years of experience serving companies like Rockwell Automation, Grohe India, and Jindal Steel Limited. She has been awarded among 101 Fabulous Coaching Leaders by CHRO, Asia and AD. Featured as top 10 Promising Executive Coaches 2020 by Silicon India, 100 Most Iconic Women, and Dr. Sarojini Naidu International Awards for Women 2020. Ma'am, we welcome you on our show. Thank you for giving your precious time to us. Now I'd like to introduce Ma'am Naz Joshi. Ma'am Naz is India's first transgender international beauty queen, a trans rights activist, and a motivational speaker. She has won Miss World Diversity Beauty Pageant 3 times in a row. She is world's first transsexual to win International Beauty Pageant with cisgender woman. She currently holds the title of Miss Universe Diversity 2020, making her India's first international trans beauty queen with 6 international crowns. Ma'am, it was my honor to introduce you. Welcome to our show and thanks for giving your precious time. We also have with us Ms. Reshma Jain. She's a journalist and a social worker. She has worked with big banners like The Hindu, The New Indian Express, and The Times of India. She is currently a consultant editor with Socio Story. Thanks for finding time for us, Reshma, and welcome to our show. As for the topic, we are also trying for a more diversified approach. So we have with us Mr. Manav Harit, a student representative from the HRFX team. Manav has been unbeatable when it comes to the national and international business management fests. HR being his favorite, he has grabbed laurels in various national platforms. We welcome you, Manav, and we are honored to have you in the capacity of a student speaker for today's podcast. Last but not the least, I would like to introduce my team members from Corporate Decoders, Mr. Sarnobar Hedri, an L&D consultant, an HR professional, and a social worker. Welcoming Mr. Pravar Madhukar Pandey, Deputy Manager, Talent Acquisition, Jubilant Life Sciences. The last one on the category is myself. I am Shubham Raj, a budding HR professional. So let's start today's discussion. And with this discussion, my first question would be for Nida ma'am. So ma'am, I would like to ask you that why do you think diversity is important in the organization? Do you also believe that it runs under the principle of equality? And if you do think that it does runs in the principle of equality, so I want to get into the notion that how do you think everyone is equal? Because we are not equal in any of the terms. So why we are fighting on the equitable quotient in the corporate, or for that matter in the any world?
I'm a firm believer that none of us is equal. So a lot of people may not like what I say, but fighting for equality for me is not the fight. For me, it is about chances. It is about equity. When we talk of organizations, I think from the first person to the last has to have a stake into it. It can't be, it sounds very good jargon, diversity, inclusion. We keep talking about it. Diversity is a fact. It's a fact, but inclusion is the act, the actions one take. The issue is not that we want, we want equality, but why we want equality? No two men are same, no two women are same. It's about equal chances. Then my responsibility comes that I want to grab that chance or no. But if the equal chances are not available, then the issue or the challenge exists. So it's just that, everybody keeps talking about it, everybody wants it, but how many are executing it?
True, ma'am, true. Ma'am, but in the continuation of this, I just want to ask that it has been a social obligation to include other genders in the corporate mainstream. But if that had been the case, only PSU would have taken the initiative. But as we know, not only big corporate giants like KPMG, Infosys, etc., but also novel startups have started the inclusion process. What do you think would it take to the another organization, especially the Indian manufacturing organization, we still have the orthodox mindset of employing male employees only? And with this also, ma'am, I just want to raise one issue with this also, that as we can see, whenever we fill a form into any organization, we don't find a third gender option. If it would be only two genders, one is male and the other one is female. So why it is restricted only to those?
Very unfortunate, Shubham. Very unfortunate, because there are a lot of jobs when organization circulates which says only male. So
True.
it's only one gender they keep talking about, not the second or the other genders, and third or first gender. I don't want to differentiate first, second, third, but what I mean is that they talk of all genders because we are stereotyped. We say women, so HR means women, IR means men.
True, true.
Yeah. So sales means men, admin means women. So it's unfortunate somewhere, and they don't understand that it's a mix which makes us innovate. It's the different ideas which come together. So everybody wants it, as I said. So you invite everyone to the party, but you don't invite everybody for the dinner or for the dance floor.
Yes, exactly.
So we still say we will have people, we have people, because there is a social obligation, as you just rightly said, that everybody wants to show the visible action, not the invisible, in deep action of it, but just to prove that we are doing diversity. Do you know only in US 8 billion USD has been spent on diversity and inclusion trainings? It's a big number. And still, I think if I look at it, only maybe odd 20% or so would have actually deep skin executed. Because there are a lot of challenges. There are a lot of biases existing. So as I said, you invite for party, but you don't invite for dance and dinner. So you hire people, you have people, but you don't want them to be included.
Exactly. So, ma'am, what do you think should be one part an organization should do for the same? So that the means you are completely right that we hire female employees into the organizations, but we don't give them chances. That's exactly, that is true, and I can't deny the fact that it's not. But and even if some other thing, and there is moreover, I would say, a societal unconscious biasness which is there beside. For an example, that I'll put an example like for a sports. In the corporate scenario, if there's a match of football match previous night last night, and I'm talking with my some male counterpart, and if a female comes in between, I'll say, though I am not judging it, but that would come with me that she wouldn't know it because she's a female.
Naturally come. naturally comes. Yeah.
Exactly. So that has been a preconditioning which has been there from means it's a stigma which I would say a social stigma which is there in the society and
They have
which
grown
is
up
been
like that,
ingrained.
Shubham. They have
Exactly,
been
ma'am.
growing up looking around.
True, true. So what could be the solution for the same?
So I'll tell you a contradictory point here, Shubham. When women does something good, she sets a trend.
True.
Men doesn't. That's
Okay, yeah.
expected out of man.
Exactly.
If women doesn't, she's fragile, she's timid.
True.
So why are you giving so much of importance to a woman on one side that even if she does a little better, you highlight, you start saying, a woman has become a CEO, women this percentage in the leadership board. We are also responsible for it. We, when I say women is also responsible, external environment is, but we also hesitate to take up.
True.
I would, so there are many women who would say, I won't travel. So I think it's the conditioning which has been made. So we need to, from the starting, stop creating that safe environment. Safety has to be an external environment, not internal. You don't have to treat so much differently that it becomes a taboo.
True, ma'am.
As I said,
True.
equal opportunities, merit. It has to be on merit. If I want equal pay, I need to do equal.
Exactly.
I won't say that,
Exactly.
I would do this much, but you have to pay me equal. So it is a debate which will continue till the time we stop creating that kind of a, mash in our mind that we are different. We are different, but we are different because everybody is different.
True, ma'am.
I am
True.
not same as, you know, any other women. So all people here today, so five or six of us, we are different. Yet coming together today for this program.
Exactly.
That's diversity and that's inclusion.
So, ma'am, one more question that according to you, diversity should be restricted to genders or it should be open for thoughts? I believe that diversity should more become of a thought process, means a major thought process. And that is the reason why we should include various people.
Tell me, Shubham, we create products, we offer
True.
services. Is it for one person?
Exactly, ma'am. That is the
It's for
reason why
diverse,
we could have them, ma'am.
for diverse culture. So when we are
True.
providing services, we are creating products for diverse background people. Then why can we think even on those lines that we need to have one kind of a gender in or culture or race or ethnicity? You leave, gender apart. Diversity is all about thoughts. It's about having different mindset. Then only you can create something new. Now, if I keep saying yes to everything, what ideas you would come, you would never change. You would never create something different.
True, ma'am.
That's why all product companies, all services companies have advanced because they have evolved. You will only evolve when you challenge internally each other, when you get new things on table. So as I said,
Exactly.
diversity is visible. It is visible, it is a fact. What is invisible, what needs to be done is inclusion. That's in our behavior and action. Just hiring won't help. Or just saying that, it's a diversity thing, it's a initiative I'm taking for diversity, it won't exist.
True.
So
Yeah.
that's where it is.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, Naz. I'm having a question for you.
Sure,
First,
sure.
first, I would like to welcome you and thank you for being here, part of our social platform.
Thank
So,
you.
first, we would like to listen to you in 5 to 6 sentences about your journey. What are the challenges that you have faced throughout your journey so that you have achieved a milestone in your life? and you have become Miss Universe Diversity, and you have entirely you have made the entire the community proud. So, what are the challenges that you faced in your throughout journey, and how you have overcome from your this challenges?
See, I'm going to tell you very honestly, the speech that just Madam Nida gave, I'm very, very angry on that because she's talking that diversity is thought. Diversity is not a thought. Diversity is about creating, bringing different genders on the table because we might not be, so lucky to go to school because in the schools also we have been traumatized so much. In the colleges we have been named and shamed so much that we didn't get that opportunity. So why not a special, treatment for us? If a girl today is still today in India is, she is killed in the womb of the mother because she's a woman. And why can't she be treated like a good way? Like if she's achieved something today, we have a woman who is the Intel's CEO. So it's the time to celebrate. I think it is definitely. I believe that we need to celebrate when different genders of different backgrounds come together and they create a mark for themselves. Why not we celebrate? It's about like if Manushi Taylor wins the crown for India, we make a big fuss about it. But when Arnaz Joshi wins the crown for India, that to sixth time, and for the first time any trans woman wins the crown for India, that there is no celebration. Why? I mean, you're saying that let's treat everybody equally, right? So where the equal treatment comes from? Our prime ministers or ministers have never congratulated me. So I asked them. They say we have not sent you in a pageant. Did they send Manushi also? Not on the pageant. They haven't sent her. Why they call her for the the tea or coffee or something like that? Why the prime minister for it? All the film stars for the party. So this is what is like disturbs me so much. And I want to tell you that I have worked in a biggest hotel of Delhi, which is called the Lalit, because I'm very vocal about it. I will not say lie. I have worked for the Lalit and I've seen the HR manager there being so insensitive that when I told her that, ma'am, I'm on hormones, I need a break. She said, what if you are Miss Universe, if you're Miss World, you're out of this place, you're nothing here. I said, I'm not asking you that I'm Miss World or Miss Universe. I'm just saying that I'm on hormones right now and I'm not feeling well. I need a leave. And my leave was rejected. And in fact, to that level that I was thrown out of this company, and which makes us says that, okay, we are very inclusive and we are for print money. What they did, they just, click pictures of mine and circulated everywhere. And in their brochures also, when they talk about inclusivity, my picture is there on the first page. This is what you call inclusivity, or this is what our marketing gimmick is all about. And there are girls who are acid attack, survivors. There are girls who are rape victims. You think that it's easy for them to come in that, scenario? That if you ask my struggle has been the most because I'm a transgender woman. I don't have those facilities that every woman has. I can't go to gym because gyms are saying that sorry, we don't enroll transgender women. Where do I go for my, body practicing or something? If I go to skincare clinic, nobody wants to hear me there because see, if a Manushi Chillal goes to international platform, everybody's supporting her. Who supported me for that matter? That is my biggest struggle ever. That whatever I have to do, being my clothes, being my smile correction, being my skin correction, being my hair correction, everything I have to do myself. Why? Because I'm a transgender. Why I am being, cursed or punished for something which is not my fault? And when some company is saying that we are including people from diverse places, please understand that they are not skilled to do the job. You have to skill them. Are you ready to invest your time and money to skill them to get you the job? No, nobody's doing this because everybody wants quick results, and quick results doesn't come like that. You have to first, pick up people from various fields. You never know, maybe they're not educated for that course, but when you train them, you don't know what's there on the mind. And when you talk about productivity of any kind of institution or organization, I'm sure you should need definitely a lot of people, not from this LGBT community. Also, I'm talking about the different ethnicities, whether they African, American, anybody for that matter. Everybody has something nice to bring on the table. And that is what we should focus on. Not just, because she's a woman, we should not give her rights. She's a trans woman, we should not call her bechari, bechara. We are becharas. We are made to feel becharas because on the papers also today it's written that we are others. Man, woman, and others. Why we are others? Aren't we part of your own productivity? When a man and woman has sex, we are the ones who are produced. It's not our fault. God has not sent us, on the earth that, okay, hey, you are the transgender and stay here. The whole life, from starting from the school, from the college, from your job profile, from being a beauty queen. Even today, I am being discriminated everywhere. Even if I go to events, I am the last person who is being called on the stage to get felicitated. Is it my fault? So when we are talking about diversity, please start to respect people, start to respect women, start to respect trans women, start to respect men. Give us equal atmosphere. I have a lot of incidences to tell you that people, when I go to events, they say, "Oh my God, अब हम पंजरों के साथ बैठना पड़ेगा." This is the comment that I hear from people who are already celebrities and who are already doing so well in corporate industry. That's the thought process is. That is how are we going to get treated? We are treated worse than
True, ma'am.
animals.
True.
We are not even
Ma'am
allowed to
Nidam,
get into the hospitals. Like in hospitals also, we don't have separate wards for us.
true, ma'am. That is what we wanted to bring on the table. And as on the starting, I have said that we don't talk about the third gender at all, and we have to talk about the same. Nida ma'am wants to speak up something about the same.
So
Ma'am, you can
there,
continue,
where
please.
said, and I think I hear so much of, obviously pain when she is talking, because there is pain. And that's where I said that it's not about first, second, third gender. Why we have discriminated so much? Why?
True.
Why we have kept people on different pedestals? And
Exactly.
it's about that we keep talking about that we want to change. There is a voice, but who is hearing the voice? And my point was that why are we discriminating? That when women achieve something, we celebrate, or we say that she can't do it. It has to be equal celebration. The wiring has to be that way from the start, that there is no difference. And if there is a difference, treat it differently. But don't make that discrimination so visible that people start to avoid, people start to discriminate when somebody starts feeling pain. There is so much of conscious, unconscious, both biases. She has just aptly said. And that was my point. That either a woman or a transgender woman or a man is too big because उसने छोटा भी achieve किया तो बहुत बड़ा, otherwise they are not worth talking about. Her achievements are no lesser. I think she has achieved beyond anybody. And she was right that कि अगर कोई और करता है तो वो बड़ा बन जाता है, celebrity बन जाता है. They are big celebrities. We talk about it. And that is exactly my point, that we have created those biases so strong, so thick that हम उससे cross ही नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. हम equality की बात करते हैं, equity की बात ही नहीं करते. Equity is chances to everybody.
Yeah, I believe with
Exactly,
chances you
ma'am.
need to also skill train everybody. I believe so because
Yes.
unless you don't skill train them, they will not be able to cope up with the pressure. Okay, one. I think secondly thing is that you need to create a very safe work atmosphere for them. That because like I said, that people say that हम लोग इतने बुरे दिन आ गए कि हम हिजड़ों के साथ बैठना पड़ रहा है. So that should not be there in the workspace, that people are saying that we are so bad now that we have to work with transgenders or the women with who have scars on their faces. I think we need to really train our staff also before that, before we hire diverse people.
Very true. Even the last person, if you remember my statement, the last employee of the organization is a stakeholder. जब तक the
Exactly.
last person is not educated and understand the fact, we can't run diversity and inclusion
True,
in our
true.
society, in our organization. So the first CEO till the last, office bearer has to be equal stakeholder.
True, ma'am.
So,
So, number sir.
so Naz ma'am, I have really listened to you and touched my heart, and really it's a great challenge that you have faced and you have come and you have survived in this world. So we really appreciate your courage. And ma'am, my next question is, what can the organization do at the grassroots level, to resolve such challenges that you have faced, so that the next person in the queue like you, me, he, she, whatever, see gender or any community or any sexual orientation person cannot face such kind of problem in the organization. You have quoted an example of an HR person and your story. So, you know what organization needs to do as per your opinion so that there should be a fair chance and equal representation of all the sexual orientation people in this world.
See, I want to tell you something that when we talk about an umbrella term LGBTQ, it means lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgenders, and queer people. Okay, queer people can be ones who can support, even trans community also. They don't have to be any lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender. Now the problem is, and the real fact is, the lesbian, gays, and bisexual are the people who are invisible. You cannot even like say pinpoint that this person is like really a gay or a bisexual something. There's so many people who are working in the organization who can be of this orientation. So sexuality is not the matter. The matter is about trans women, because trans women are the ones who are definitely recognized, on its own. And the what I suggest to the companies is definitely a skill training for all the trans women, and to ensure the safety that everybody should be there on an equal platform. Because I know lot of trans women who do not want to beg, who do not want to clap, who don't want to do prostitution. They want to do a 9 to 5 job where they can get good amount of salary. So there are a lot of things that an institution can do. Also, I'll tell you, 2 years ago, Supreme Court had ordered all these insurance companies to include transgender surgeries in their package. And what had happened is that 2 years ago, ICICI got in touch with Lalit Hotel, and they had introduced that only for Lalit Hotel trans girls, and we were only three trans girls who were working there that time. And why ICICI is only done for Lalit Hotel is because they're earning a lot of money out of it. And if this is implemented only in one set of organization, I think it should be implemented in every set of organization, that trans surgery should be free of cost for everybody. Because I tell you, a lot of girls do begging, clapping, and sex work before earning the money for their sex reassignment surgeries. And when you are giving that kind of a surety to them that in 1 year when your health cover is there, we are going to cover that thing for you. A lot of trans women will be get inspired and come for the job forward, and they would like to do a job as well. Now the thing is that we need to educate. That ma'am said that from everybody to everybody we need to make sure that they respect, whether they are the darbans, whether they are the peons, whether they are the CEO of the company. I think सिर्फ opportunity मिलने से काम नहीं चलेगा. If you talk about that, we are giving opportunity. No, opportunity won't work. Opportunity will work only if the co-workers or co-space people are going to cooperate. If they are not going to cooperate, how are we going to give the results on the table? So we need to also be firm and see to it that as a HR person, none of our diverse people who we call on the board are suffered. We need to be have a personal touch with them. Also, what can companies do is the companies can hire or can make a special cell with a counselor or with a psychologist who is coming and maybe on a weekend or on a weekday 1 day and solving their problems. Because I'm sure even HR also, there are people who are employed, say men or women in HR also. We should have diversified people, like we can have trans men, trans women, people from LGBTQ who can understand their problem. Because I tell you something, it's not easy to understand a pain of a trans woman. I have been through all this through my life, so I can understand the pain of any trans woman who will come to me and explain her problem. But for a man or for a woman, it's not easy to understand them. And unless and until we understand them, we cannot expect them to produce something, really nice for the company. Because when we're talking about an organization and its profits, there are a lot of pink money that can be raised. Because the pink money is all about, trans women, LGBTQ community, and giving them a chance is not one thing that we're talking about today. Give a chance and make sure that the chance is there for them and they're easy, comfortable working there, and all the staff is sensitized enough to welcome them on the board.
True, ma'am. True, ma'am. So there should be equal representation in considering the safety of the transgender community and other communities as well. As we are already practicing for men and women, so we should include the LGBTQ into the current policies. We should have fair treatment. We should have code and policies which is being implemented for the other two communities. We should include LGBTQ and the different persons of different skill sets, people having different experiences, education, race, religion, community, caste, creed. So, thank you so much. I believe Shubham, whom to ask next question.
Yeah. Yes. Before this, I'll ask one more question from Nida ma'am actually. Ma'am, Naz ma'am has raised a very great question where she has mentioned that you have to be into the shoes of the person if you want to understand the same person's concern. So, Nida ma'am, I just want to ask that when we talk about this, that you have to be in the shoes of someone to understand their pain. But the unfortunate premise is there that we don't have those persons. And if those persons are there who make the policies of such people who they don't know the pain about, means if I am the doctor and I don't know what a patient is all about, and I don't know about the patients and its medical history, how would I be able to cure the patient's disease? Which she has raised a very great point. I mean, what do you think should be the solution for this thing?
So, Shubham, my only point would be that one, I won't have a ready answer for it, but I think first is it is all about mindset. It starts from mindset. It is like that you have people in co-education and they don't understand. There is a mix of people together and they learn to be diverse.
True.
So when organizations are open and their mindsets are changed, they're open with arms, and every person from the leadership board till the last person understands it is common to have diverse backgrounds. So it is not only about gender. You see a difference when somebody from a different state comes in, or an expat comes in. We don't need to have an expat to run a policy or understand and formulate. But you need to have a mindset to execute it. As I said, everybody wants it, but nobody wants to ingrain it. That it's like a mix which you need to run also. Just inviting people may not help. It is about addressing these biases which are existing. No, we know, but now we need awareness. Yes, you need to understand to be in somebody's shoes. But it is about when women plans a policy or formulates a policy for a man, he doesn't need to be a man. He needs a mindset. He needs an openness to include everything in the policy. And that's one part of it. You have made a policy. The main thing comes when it is executed.
True.
Even women are not a lot of time sensitive towards women. A lot of time men are not sensitive towards women. Then comes, we are talking of different genders, we are talking of different castes, states. There's biases of all sorts. Language biases. So diversity, for me, it is all about everything. You have a seat on a table, but where is that voice which is heard? So to me, I think it may not solve then also. The point would be when mindsets are changed. When we understand that chances and opportunity is one, equality is not about just having people inside the organization, but ingraining it, executing it.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good afternoon, ma'am. This is Prabha here. So, I had this very prevailing conjecture here, so that it's often observed that organizations are hesitant and apprehensive when it comes to hiring prospects from other genders or other categories for that matter, even people with disabilities. In fact, they have this orthodox mindset and perspective that hiring anyone except a male incumbent would add to the cost parameters, be it devising new policies, be it investing on infrastructure, be it investing on leaves. So what do you think would it take, to create a perspective which would actually negate this orthodox and conventional thought, and which would have been obsolete by now, because as we will see, it's only recently that we have opened ourselves to change. But then again, if the mindset prevails, I mean, the inclusion factor totally becomes ornamental. So, what do you think would it take to, negate this orthodox and conventional perspective that
So,
the
Pravar, I
organization?
think, yeah, Pravar, so I think I've answered in different bits in different questions, but I think it's all about there is a bias,
Hmm.
conscious, unconscious, both. And yes, you have said, Neha has said about it. I think it's all about, Naz has said. So it is about that it is consciously there. Cost is something which people feel why we should invest in cost and time. Let's hire somebody ready. But people forget nobody is ready 100% for a job. You need to invest. Hiring principle should be that somebody is ready 60% for a job and then you train it. Or else, like you hire interns, develop them for your team. But when there is a bias, we need to address it also with an awareness. I told you that it's just not that different genders, different states, caste, cultures. We are biased. We think that HR means women. It's not that way. You guys have studied HR, which that does mean that you have studied something which is about women.
Not at all.
No, right? IR is not meant for women.
I
Sales,
really
front
disagree.
end sales, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is that this is a stereotype. So when I was becoming a coach, I was told you don't look old. So don't become a coach. I was told so clearly that when you sit across the table and you have to coach somebody, you need to look more wiser. You need to look more older. So what do I do to look older? Mindset. The mindset needs to change, and that has to from the start. People need to make responsible for having diversity and inclusion in their team. As I said, you are creating. So a sales guy is selling his products or his systems to a woman, a man, a transgender. Then why he or she can't have diversity in his or her team? Then only they can understand more about the different diverse needs. Simple.
Certainly, certainly,
It
but
got made complex.
yeah, that's totally true. I mean, but then again, there's such. I mean, there's this perception to create the diversity quotient and to emphasize on it, that organizations. I mean, because they can't emphasize on cost factor. All right, they have this narrow perspective that, and they have to project cost quarterly. So they emphasize on for them diversity only becomes a morality quotient, right? And more often than not, what hiring managers would do is they would tag certain positions for females, all right,
Hmm.
and then the male, a prospect male or any other gender wouldn't have a chance to apply for it. Now that totally negates the meritocracy prospect altogether. So
Yes.
how could we, create a realization factor within the organization, to make them understand that yes, meritocracy is important, all right. But then again, there is this skill gap which needs to be addressed, because you haven't conferred to the other genders what was rightfully theirs since centuries. Now that they have been brought into the table, they're not skilled enough, is what you think, or as an
Hmm.
organization is what you think. So how to negate these such issues like these? These are very trifling issues in their concern, but it actually has a very impact, a very huge impact on the organization productivity. So
So,
that,
Pravar, I think it's not about skills.
yeah,
I think when we are talking of it, half of the time it is about a stereotype.
all right,
Skill comes later.
yeah,
People normally don't hire a women or transgender or a somebody from different state thinking that he or she is not skilled. They will first come and say, लड़की है ट्रैवल नहीं कर पाएगी.
Exactly.
She will have to. How many people go and ask this question to men? Do you ask a question to men when he or he is, sorry, she, I'm saying mixing. So a men sitting across on an interview, you ask that person, when you will be married, will you move? When will you be on a family way? Are you single or married? These questions are asked to a woman. When it comes to transgender, you have a different set of questions. Either you're so mentally blocked that you would not invite them, because that's how we have grown up, as I said. The skills come second. The first is mindset.
So sensitivity training is what is the answer?
Sensitivity training is first, awareness is first, but as I said, it has to be deep inside. Only voice doesn't matter. Voice needs to be heard. It has to become value of the organization. Like quality is a value, for example. A passion is a value. Integrity is a value. Diversity, inclusion has to be the value.
But
Core
then
values
again,
of
ma'am, reserving seats. I mean, you are tagging someone for a gender. You are tagging a position for a gender. What you are essentially doing is reserving seats. So don't
no,
you think? Uh,
no. I'm not talking of reserving. I'm
okay,
talking of equal chances and opportunities.
all right.
Spend time na. If you organization has to do it, then they have to have budgets for training people. They need to be mindful in their performance management, what kind of inclusion they have carried. And these are very deep rooted, Trevor. So when we talk of inclusion, may a lot of time is on yes and no man also. A lot of time bosses won't take people who are not of the similar opinions. Very less of the bosses are okay and open to hear no or a diverse opinion. So it's a mix. We don't understand. We are individuals. We are unique. But when we come together, we make something creative. The answer is not ready-made. It has to be over the years. There may be disadvantages of reservation. It is like that. Then by force you will fix people, and they are always seen as people who have taken advantage of reservation,
So,
not because they were worth and they deserve that.
So we were talking a lot about the mental blockage or the stereotypes we need to get rid of. So to give an example, so one of the sensitive areas when we talk about non-binary individuals or transgenders joining the workforce, so working in a workforce is how they would want to be addressed, or the preference of their pronoun that they want to be used. Now, my question is to you, Naz ma'am. What are the other sensitivity areas that the work culture should adhere to? Uh, and in addition to this, if you could also suggest a part of the sensitization initiative, that can help us get rid of these stereotypes and managerial bias that is currently a huge issue that we're talking about.
Okay, so Manav, I want to tell you something that being a trans woman, I am a graduate from NIST and then I'm postgraduate in MBA from IMT Ghaziabad. Okay, so I'm a management student also. I was a management student also. So apart from having these degrees, no one gave me a job because they were all scared that how can we have a trans woman on the board, and how would people react, how would the co-workers react. So as Nita ma'am also pointed out that they would not even call you, to have a meeting with them, or not to have, to put you on the board, to call you for an interview. They won't do it, and that's the fact. And that is why a lot of trans women, who have the money, who undergo prostitution, what they do is they undergo facial feminization surgery so that they don't look like a trans woman at all, so they look like a woman, and that is how they're accepted in the society. Now, this is a very topic which is like really hurts me, because after achieving so much also for the country, as you talk about general public, people don't know me so well, because reason being that the media itself is so transphobic that they're ready to write about huge cries of trans women, but they're not ready to write about their achievements. Now we're talking about the sensitive areas at the workplace. Number one, you spoke about that training you spoke about, but have you spoken about, say, a basic necessity, which is called the transgender rules? How many companies have that all-inclusive, transgender rules, or all-inclusive rules for that matter, toilet for that matter? We only had one in Lalit Delhi that had, special rules for the trans women, and This is how one should also look to it. That the basic need of a person that she is in nature called, she has to go to a loo, whether she can't go to a man's loo or a woman's loo, they should create that, right? And the second thing is that the organization has to make sure that the person whom they are hiring is, in a safe working environment. Because see, when you are providing cab to women in the evening, by after 7 o'clock or after 8 o'clock, why not providing the cab for trans women also? So they should be included, that they should be safe enough to be sent to their home, because there's a lot of crimes that happen with trans women also, whether it's trans teasing, whether they are rapes or their molestations. A lot of things happens to us, especially when we travel alone at night. So I think the companies should make sure that when we are traveling in the night from the company, we have to have a cab for ourselves. It should not be restricted to only women, for that matter, because I have come to know about a lot of multinational companies for offering only to women in the night, okay, not to men, not to trans women. Okay, so that is one thing. Second thing is that the sensitive areas that they can work on is that I spoke about loose, I talk about the sensitization program. I also want that the bosses should be friendly. They should be friendly. They should not show that, okay, fine, we are boss, and they should be always like on the top of their voice and shouting on other people, because this brings a very bad impact on a trans woman's head, because all that life she's heard the abuses of people. So that boss has to understand that she's a trans woman. Let me be very polite in front of her, okay? So that they can become friends, and then she can actually tell problems to the boss that this is what is coming, in my way, and then the boss can solve the problem, because there's so many things that she can't, solve the problem on her own. So the friendly atmosphere we're talking about is not just among colleagues; it has to be also among the boss and between the managers and the employees. See, when I was very fortunate when I was called to IIM Udaipur in 2019, and I went to IIM Udaipur and I told them about gender sensitization. I told them that you would be managers, and definitely, just as ma'am said, that we are not talking about reservations. But reservation should be there. Shubham and Manas, both of you, I'm telling you, the reservation should be there. When you go tomorrow as HR manager, you should also tell your companies to have reservations. Reservation, why? Because see, when we were young, okay, and I'm talking about myself, like, see, after all the difficulties I've raised here, but there are so many people like me who are not raised, who have not gone to school because they were out of school because they were scared that their fellow, students were telling them they're chakka, they're hijras, and this and that. And a lot of people didn't go to the colleges also because they again face the same thing. What are they doing today? They're doing begging and clapping. They're talking about, they are doing prostitution. When you're talking about mainstreaming the trans community, we have to see that there should be a reservation. We're not asking that you fill your organization with trans people. At least give us 1% seat, at least 1%. Like if you employ 100 people, at least give one trans woman a chance. So you never know that trans woman can change the scenario of entire company. So I believe that the change should start from there. And as ma'am said, that we see a lot of advertisements on the newspaper saying we're looking for a male marketing person or we're looking for a female marketing person. I wish that I can see an ad somewhere where they say we're looking for trans women, who can come and do this job. Like trans women may not be able to say do a lot of stuff that you marketing people can perhaps do, but then she also has the knowledge. She also has the mind. At least give her a chance and make her skill training. See, there are a lot of offices where there is a canteen. She can take good care of canteen. She can take good care of your gardens. She can take good care. She can be a good peon also because she's very caring. She can be a good secretary to the boss where she can understand what all meetings he has. So give her a chance at least, no? Then when you come to the potential, I'm not saying okay, give her the CEO post. No, there are so many opportunities that you can come out with for trans women, for that matter, and where they can prove themselves, where they don't even have to have a certain degree.
Right. So, ma'am, what I have understood is from the basic infrastructural needs to actual thoughtful, thinking behind the policies when we make. So it varies from there to there. And another thing, so you mentioned about the reservation. I recently came across a fact that so PWDs generally this segment has been given a reservation at in IITs, IIMs, and everywhere. but most of those seats are still empty, even in these such premier institutions. So how would you want to suggest that like these seats should be filled, right? So what is
Yeah.
stopping the people from this particular community to actually maybe apply for this college or these institutions so in the first place?
Okay, so I'm going to give you a short example. When 2019 I visited IIM, I had asked them that why don't you have any transgenders? So they said we have a seat reserved for transgender, but we never get any entry. The reason behind it is that a lot of transgenders don't even know about it. So there's a lack of communication to the trans women and transgenders that there is a seat which they can avail at IIM or IIT or somewhere. So that is one that is lacking. Secondly, I believe that a lot of trans women, they quit their education from class 12 and they don't want to go further because they think that, maybe prostitution can earn them more money or something like that can earn them more money. So, also, I don't know whether the fee of these girls, because I know that IIM is very expensive and so as IIT. So, I don't know whether the fee of these trans women is free of cost or whether it is like they are getting any scholarship because a lot of trans women cannot afford that kind of fee structure. So maybe this is, can also be a reason that we don't see trans women out there because when they are like teenagers, you talk about how many of us can actually sponsor our own education to IIM places. They're like in lakhs and lakhs you're giving fee. How many of us can afford even a boy or a girl for that matter? We're not talking about trans women here, but how many of us can afford? We always take money from the parents. But the sad situation with trans women is that the parents don't support them. I wish the parents had supported them and then they can go for IIMs also.
All right. So it's basically, making the community also more aware about the opportunities that are already there, plus
True,
also working toward making them maybe more feasible and accessible to this particular community.
true.
Thanks, ma'am. And that answers my question. Yeah. So moving on to asking a question to Reshma Jain, ma'am, right now. To start with, ma'am, we know that you've worked a lot in the community aspect of it. You have seen life and this situation at the very ground level. So could you help us understand what can be done to improve the current scenario that is there in the discrimination part of it in diversity and inclusion, and what can be particularly contributed from the business organizations in this particular area?
Sure, Manav. One thing that I would like to say is real development and progress is only when we have a more inclusive society. Because I think a diverse mix of voice leads to better discussions, decisions, and outcomes for everyone. And I'm fortunate enough to work for a platform called Social Story, which is a platform to voice the unvoiced and provide a platform to the marginalized communities. And as we all know, trans community has been marginalized, and sadly, it is still being sidelined. So I've had the opportunity to speak and write on a few people from the trans community. So unfortunately, there is only a thin line that I can draw out of all these journeys that I have worked closely with. So one main point is pain, ostracization, discrimination. This is being part and parcel of their life. Uh, why this makes me wonder why, and hundreds of questions. I keep pondering about all these questions that keep I keep getting these questions as to why have we come to that level where pain, discrimination, ostracization have become a part of their life. Why? So when I ponder about that, what I think is, just because they cannot identify their gender assigned at birth, is it something that is in their control? And like such questions, I mean, I don't know where we are lacking. One point that I think where we are lacking is acceptance. So the people from the trans community deserve something very vital. First, they deserve our respect. And by a respect, I mean from the mainstream society. And sadly, I have to say that now, if we speak about the mainstream society, people only think about the two genders. So here, I would also like to say that for a more inclusive society, we have to have the third gender at every place, be it education, be it jobs, be it business, be it anything. third gender has to be there, and there has to be equal opportunities. Just like Nida ma'am and Naz were speaking, I could really relate to what they were speaking, because lack of opportunities is is what is lacking nowadays. So I think we have come to a point where people have started to understand about the LGBTQ community. Not everybody, but yes, there is a little awareness that has been created. Because when I keep speaking to people, they do share their experiences, and some people are ready to, give them a lending ear. So when I say about that, about compassion and empathy, this is also very important, because of all the trans community members that I have spoken, they only say that, ma'am, there are very few people from the media who listen to us. Everybody is okay to write about their pain, their journeys, but not about what they want to do, or not about what they have achieved, or what they dream of. Why? They are as normal as us, right? They're humans, so they will also be having ambitions. They have aims in life, goals in life. Why not? I mean, why do we treat them as a downtrodden society? I mean, I never get an answer to that question. And what I feel is, when there is empathy, there is compassion, there is acceptance, and a gender equal society will only be one where the word gender does not exist. I completely agree with Nida ma'am when she said about the discrimination that happens. Why do you have to even say that, okay, she's the first trans member to have achieved this? So, okay, like for example, Aryan Pasha, he's the first trans man bodybuilder. So I had asked him this, that why is that trans title attached to your name? Why can't it be Aryan Pasha wins the title? I mean, he has done India proud, so why not be Aryan Pasha wins a title and makes India proud? And the same thing with Naz, or the same thing with Archie, when they say the first trans woman to back titles at beauty pageants. Why? Do we attach the titles of genders to each and every one of us, or do we just say our names, that okay, this and this person has done something and has achieved something? So that tagline, I don't think it is needed, and the discrimination starts from there. When we say the first trans man, when we say the trans lady or trans woman or whatever, we can call them as well a normal human being. You need not discriminate them. So then coming to, what is required. So the first point, what I understand while speaking to them and while interviewing them, is first is the empathy that comes, a lending ear to them, so that they are able to express what they feel. Not only, listening to them, or it's not that they're gaining sympathy. Here, empathy matters, and that is what is needed. So that comes first, and then comes awareness. While speaking to a lot of people, what I've understood, that awareness not only in terms of learning about what the trans people are doing, but awareness also in the trans community, to enable them to think big and do big. They are only their answers. They can only be their answers to what people have discriminated. So the second one goes for awareness, and the third one goes to a change in mindset. There is, if it comes to education, if it comes to employment opportunities, or if it comes to business opportunities or anything, a change in mindset would make them a more, it would make the society a more acceptable one. Then comes the understanding and opportunities to give them a platform. All of us have a lot of opportunities. We can do what we want, but what where are they? Where are they supposed to go? If somebody is good in writing, are there any media houses that are hiring them? No, right? So why? Because they are from the trans community. So what if they're from the trans community? They have equal caliber to portray, to pursue their dreams. Why not a trans journalist? Have you ever heard a trans person being a journalist? Why not? Because they think that this is not their cup of tea. I've heard about the members of the trans community who say that we want to do this, we want to do that, we have ambitions. But sadly, lack of support, lack of understanding, the trans community are not able to do. So I think the first thing that has to be done from our side is to accept them and give them opportunities to portray, to give them a chance that okay, that these people are also capable of doing what we do. slowly there are a few examples which are coming up. Like recently I had a talk with one of the person from the trans community who has been employed in the has been employed in Amazon. So there are Amazon is taking up a drive to employ people from the trans community because they feel they need to set an example for a more inclusive society. So I'm glad that at least a part of it has moved forward. If not everybody, at least one example that I can look up to is Amazon, which has been recruiting the trans people, and I just wish that every company has the same kind of policies, has the same kind of rules and regulations for the trans community and treat them as equal as the two genders. So from training, from hiring, people need to come out, open up and come out of their limited thinking. That having said that, you know, it's not only about hiring and training, but also about giving them equal opportunities and also training them, hiring them, giving them equal opportunities as well, ensuring that they have a safe atmosphere. So it is easy to hire them, or it is easy to say that we have employed the trans community, but what about their facilities? What about their the security? Just like Nas pointed out, uh, you know, as we all require basic infrastructure, basic facilities, the trans community requires it as equal as we do, giving them a safe atmosphere, giving them an equal pay. Since you were asking about the job opportunities, let's not discriminate them when it comes to facilities or when it comes to payments, when it comes to salaries. Let us be more open and accept the way people are. So here I would like to cite an example when I was interviewing one of an IS officer who has been, giving employment to the people from the trans community to set an example that they are equally talented and they require equal opportunities. So one idea that she had suggested is, to employ trans people in places where you and me are forced to go to them. I really love this idea because, this is somewhere where we all can think that trans people, just think of an example where you go to a passport office, or you go to any other government offices where your work has to be done and you need to deal with the trans people. So do you have any other option to discriminate there? No, right? So that was one example which we cited, and I was like, wow, what if this happens at a lot of places, when it comes to HR or when it comes to the other positions and designations in a company. So this is one example that I really like sharing, and there are some organizations like Periphery and others. Amazon I've already told about, and Periphery and other such organizations which are into training and making the trans community self-reliant and also brushing their talents so that they can go and live a dignified life and deserve all the respect that they need.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. I mean, you have totally, summarized the whole thing and given us this empathetic perspective. And I'm glad that, our viewers, we will be able to, put this message across. And this way, maybe we'll be able to change the mindset that is needed currently.
I would like to ask question for Sanobar sir actually. Sir, just on a one line, I would just need to understand that how sensitization is difficult and important to feel workforce more inclusive. Just a one line answer, sir.
So, giving to the answer of your question, not one line, I will take two, three lines. Sensitizing the workforce in the industry, especially when you have a mixed workforce, when you have a workers, blue collar employees, white collar employees. So you should have, you should have a robust training program, and it starts from the hiring process. When you hire the employees, you have a number of assessments. So you put this diversity and inclusion as a part of your assessment program when you hire to, just to check the mindset of the employee, how he is reacting to the diversity and inclusion program. Because diversity and inclusion is not the sole HR program. It's a company strategy. It's about mindset. It's about the mission vision of the organization, and it has a competitive advantage to have a diverse workforce. So definitely we should have a separate budget for learning and development for the diversity and inclusion program to boost this initiative. And then we have to sensitize the workforce about honoring multiple religious, cultural, LGBTQ sexual orientation communities in the organization. There should be a safety program. There should be a conscious and unconscious bias awareness program in the organization. So it's an inclusion. When you talk about inclusion, you have inclusive of everyone, every mindset, and let's respect and give a fair and equal chance. And there should be a strong measure. There should be a strong measure to calculate the effectiveness of that program. So, like all the training development program, we should have also some scorecards, some metrics for it, and we can have a different and fair and very good learning and development program for diversity and inclusion initiatives. Yes, thank you.
Okay. Hi, Prabhat. So my next question is to you. So you have been an active member of a talent acquisition team. So I would like to ask you few key points which one should take care of while hiring a female or an LGBTQ or for a diversified workforce, any workforce. Some key points.
Okay, so Shubham, it's first of all, let me summarize it all. It's extremely important for us to emphasize on the inclusion factor first. What I can infer from the discussion we had, and it was a very enlightening one. All right. So even if we talk of the yesteryears, what we essentially did, even if we talk of the yesteryears when we considered only two genders, what we essentially did is we deliberately kept 50% of the workforce at bay just on the perception that they won't be able to work or gel up with the workforce. Now that you have the realization that yes, other genders are to be included, you'll still have this perception. So unless and until you address that perception, you address the mindset that you have, it won't negate the it won't negate the issue at hand. As Nida ma'am rightly said, the mindset has to change, right? Because uh, even if you consider Naz ma'am, she is a postgraduate. She had the degree, she had all the credentials to be an HR professional, yet she wasn't given a chance. All right. So if we don't give them a chance initially, as organization must have that do away with that short-term perspective of cost of revising policies, because there are examples wherein you have included. Look what happened with Biocon. All right. Look what happened with Minda Industries. I know a company, even if you consider manufacturing ones, I know a company a company down south wherein the factory workers only employ women. There have been no issues of union. There have been no union issues. Relatively, there are less issues of misconducts. So you do realize that certain parameters are to be assessed, all right, for every gender. And unless and until you do that, I mean, just for an instance, if you consider people from the third gender, even females, all right, they'll have to uh, go through n number of societal dilemma just to get into a job, all right. So just consider if they can go through all these, right, yet get a job, and yet if you assess their PMS stats, they'll be great at it. You just consider what they can achieve if they would have been given the chance from the beginning. All right. So even if we talk of meritocracy being diluted in the name of reservation, well, the fact boils down to this: you kept deliberately 50% of the workforce initially at bay. All right. Now that you have the realization, if you don't include that, well, something has to be done to do away with that obstinate mindset of the organization, and unless we do it, it's extremely unlikely. Unless we get off this mindset and the organizational perspective that yes, it only incurs to cohorts, it'll need a lot of investment on training, on infrastructure. So unless we do away with that, we'll be only associated as a people who are going to lengths to satisfy our patriarchal appetite. So that's that. Shubham.
The last question for this day would be from Manav. So, Manav, being a student, I would like to understand the business student perspective from your point of view. And also, I would like that how would you analyze the state of current DNY initiatives, that is diversity and inclusion initiatives by the organizations, especially in the traditional Indian organizations?
Right, right. Shubham, thank you for the question. So I'll start off by what is happening currently. Since each of the diversity and inclusivity initiatives involves putting a certain kind of a filter on the total accessible talent pool that is available. Now the talent pool does shrink to a certain extent, as much as we don't want to agree on that. So this indicates a possibility that there will be instances, there will be incidents where the quality might just get compromised. Hence, it does becomes important to sensitize the managers as well on the other side that they should be, not compromising on skills, and should not hire on compassionate grounds, because this is highly counterproductive to the employees themselves. They These employees at any point shouldn't feel that they have been offered a job just because they are a part of a certain community of the society. Moreover, they should be enabled to link their achievements, with the skills and the talent they possess. So they should feel that they have achieved something and not just given as a charity. Now, another issue that currently organizations are facing, and that's why the whole DNI perspective is coming here, disproportionated representations in organizations. So, but I look at it as just a part of the problem. We need to also look at the problems giving birth to this specific issue. Hence, while we work towards making the workforce more gender neutral, we also should do the root cause analysis to look at why are we even facing this issue in the first place. And that takes me to the conscious, unconscious biases, even Nidam told, stereotypes, skewed distribution of opportunities, be it education or employment, and also issues, the particular gender is facing. By going with the facts, in India, it's the females and, other communities. I have to tell you the gap between what is happening and what should happen in the organization. I'll just say currently we're facing totally away from the problem by giving a man a fish instead of teaching them how to, do the fishing. So talking about the traditional organizations here, a few of the organizations around the world and Indian organizations, they take DNI as just a task and they miss the whole true essence part of it. It is important to understand here mere reaching a number would not suffice. Efforts need to be put in areas like sensitization, getting rid of the managerial stereotypes, providing development programs for the targeted gender or community wherever where the organizations are helping these candidates. They can help them develop the skills during their college years. Maybe an organization can just take up a campus connect program and just reach out to these colleges, and that's where they can involve and contribute to the development of this particular talent. So if they start doing this in this way, the whole organizations will be developing the talent that they want, and they are achieving diversity as well as the end result. And they're at the end, they're also eliminating the whole moral obligation part of it. So if I have to conclude, so all in all, I think there is a lot of scope and there is immense potential the organizations can exercise in the DNI area. It's just that more of a number game. It should be actually taken into the true essence.
Thank you, Manav. Ma'am Naz, want to say something?
Yeah, hi Shubham. I want to say something that we are talking about organizations. Okay, organization is like सबसे ऊपर. Okay, let's start from the basic first. Now I'm gonna tell you a school in Delhi which is called Tagore International School, and class 9 to class 12 students are doing a project called Breaking Barriers. Okay, so the sensitization should start from there itself, from school. And I have seen them in parades and LGBT parades. They come forward with the mask on and they support the community, and they also support their co-students, like if somebody wants to come out, they help them, they talk to their parents and everything. So I think the sensitization program not should start only from the organizations. I think we should start from the school level, then we should go to the college level. I think we should have a lot of new colleges. We should have the gender sensitization program where trans people should be called over and should be addressing the entire college at one go and should tell the problems. And that is how I think we will reach the organizations, because today's student of any management company or any management school will become a manager tomorrow. So I think we should start sensitization programs from the school itself so that we can get rid of that orthodox kind of a society, and I think that will work a lot.
Thank you, Naz ma'am. I would like to conclude or end today's discussion. There would have been various topics which was raised and were answered beautifully, whether it's Naz ma'am, whether it's Nida ma'am, or Reshma ma'am, Sanobar sir, Pravar, Manav. You have I think we had covered most of the various things related to diversity and inclusion. One question which was also there with people said that why do we need to reserve things up? So I would like to answer my point of view that the reservation is necessary because if you see the supply and demand, even Manav has seen that the seats are never fulfilled. The reason why the seats are never fulfilled is because the resources to go to those seats are lacking. And when such person, like whether you take Madam Naz, when she become a winner in a beauty pageant, it is an encouragement to different potential candidates from the same fraternity who would do some hard work to reach that level. So that is the reason why the reservations are necessary, I believe. And that is the reason why you will have more diversified and inclusive workforce into the organizations. So I'll thanks all of you for giving your precious time, for coming here and giving us your outputs. It was a pleasure talking to you all, whether it's Nida ma'am, whether it's Naz ma'am, Reshma ma'am, Social Story team, Manav. It was a great discussion over here. Thanks you all.